Hello everybody, welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Jane Zoidberg, and this is Best 10, where I offer up my favourite games to fit a selected theme. As we're nearing the end of our Publishers mini-series, looking at the output of some of the most well-known producers of Amiga games, today it's the turn of a company that officially closed its doors in 2002. However, they have recently been revealed to be making a bit of a comeback, with upcoming games such as Car Park Capital and the Desert Strike-inspired Cleared Hot. Microprose Software were the self-appointed kings of the simulation game back in the days of the Amiga, but as you are about to see, they weren't afraid of dipping their toes into other genres as well, especially after they bought out Telecomsoft in 1990. As always, this list is the 10 games that I personally like playing the most. Your best 10 will probably be completely different. If that is the case, I would love to hear what your choices are in the comments. So, without further ado, let's reveal the game that I've picked as my number 10. When Mission Impossible 2025 came out, the year 2025 was considered so far away that it was futuristic, yet here we are. Last time I checked, we aren't living in a cyberpunk dystopia with androids running around everywhere, so the makers of this game were thankfully not soothsayers. The game itself is part remake, part sequel to the classic Commodore 64 games from Epix, where you jump around levels, play minigames and try to solve an overarching mystery. And it's all very enjoyable stuff. If you played the CD32 version, you got a nice CD soundtrack, as well as some animated cutscenes that enhanced the overall appeal. But the best reason to buy it on release was the inclusion of the original game as a bonus. It may look basic by today's standards, but Pirates is as enjoyable today as it was the first time I played it. You're given complete freedom to go anywhere on the map and approach every situation your own way, so every time you die, or are overthrown by a mutiny, you'll want to do it all over again. Basically, it taps into the same addictive sailing and treasure hunting loop that makes Sea of Thieves so much fun today, just without the multiplayer. Some people consider Pirates Gold, released in 1994 on the CD32 with improved graphics, to be an abomination, with its unnecessarily fleshed out gameplay. I don't think I'd go that far, but the original is definitely the one that I prefer to play.
Target front.
There must be something about helicopters that makes any flight simulator where you fly one instantly more appealing to me than a fighter jet. I included Thunderhawk in my core design video, and now I'm putting Gunship 2000 in this one for almost the same reasons. Featuring gameplay that's complex without being overwhelming, brilliantly animated menu screens and smooth 3D visuals, especially on the CD32, this is clearly a top tier flight simulator. The game is as simple or as complex as you want to make it, and it was very easy to lose myself in for multiple hours at a time.
Target left. Incoming left. Incoming front. Incoming rear. We're hit. Target front.
It was many years after release before I decided to actually play Civilization for myself. When I did, it was the AGA version with the improved graphics that you can see here, and it actually confirmed what I'd always thought. It's not really a game for me, even though I can see its unquestionable merits. There's so much here that it's easy to see why people can spend multiple days playing a single campaign, only to then start all over again. To a novice like me, I would recommend finding one of the many online tutorial videos, as that allowed me to understand how to play it, and I would definitely suggest sticking to the AGA version too, as the original A500 version is very slow and looks pretty simple in comparison. Colonization was also released a couple of years later, but I've never actually played that one, so I don't know if it's any better. First thing you need to know about RVF Honda, released on the Microstyle label, is that despite a viewpoint that's positioned behind the bike, it's not an arcade game, and actually has more in common with the likes of Accolades the Cycles. Keeping your bike on the road is difficult, especially as there's no option for automatic gears, but I would recommend that you keep playing, as once it clicks, you'll end up with an engrossing racing game. There are a number of real-world circuits to race around, so if you're familiar with Brands Hatch, Donington and the old Silverstone layout, you'll feel right at home. If you're after a super hang-on style experience, look elsewhere, but those after a fast, playable and challenging bike racing sim should definitely check this one out. Julian Gollop is a name that everyone should be familiar with, but especially fans of turn-based strategy games. UFO Enemy Unknown, known as XCOM UFO Defense in the US, is the next natural evolution of his Laser Squad and Rebel Star. Like those games, it has a punishing difficulty curve as you try to protect the planet from an alien invasion. Movement of your squad is easy to grasp, and you'll find yourselves becoming attached to the individual named members of your squad. You'll also find yourself suffering plenty of devastating defeats before you finally start to have some success, even if you're playing on beginner difficulty. I find the base management side of the game to be a bit tedious, but thankfully it didn't take up too much of my playtime, or dilute the brilliance of everything else. Microprose Golf is my top choice for a round of video game golf on the Amiga, for the simple reason that it gets the basics so right. Sure, the 3D graphics are excellent, and being able to select multiple styles of camera to track your shots to their destination looks amazing, but it would all be for nothing if the actual striking of the ball was too complicated. It's such an obvious thing that you wonder why so many golf games get it wrong. Thankfully, the mouse controls and swingometer are just about perfect. With 6 courses to play and a huge number of game styles at your disposal, this should keep you occupied for many hours at a time. Also released on the Microstyle label, Stunt Car Racer sees the player throwing souped up hot rods around roller coaster style tracks. Great 3D visuals and a powerful engine sound combine to give you a great sense of speed and danger as you navigate spectacular jumps and treacherous turns while trying not to fall off the side of the track. It's not just a case of flooring it and hoping for the best, although that can be fun. You really do have to think about the speed and angle of every turn. The absolute best thing about it though is that you can link together 2 Amigas and race against your friends. As good as the computer opponents are, nothing beats barging your best mate off the track to claim victory on the final corner. just like Stunt Car Racer, the main reason Nights of the Sky is so high up this list is for how much fun the game is when two Amigas are linked up together. I lost many hours of my life to aerial duels against my friends, and the fact that we were both desperately trying to keep our planes airborne at the same time only added to the thrills. The victor in every combat encounter was nearly always the most skillful pilot, which certainly helps to keep the gameplay competitive. Honestly, link-up play is my most wanted feature for the A1200 when it releases next year. Do we need to start a petition to send to Retro Games Limited? It was only the fact that this game consistently placed in the top 10 every time Amiga Power updated their top 100 that prompted me to play it for myself. Hopefully, I can do the same for you by placing it at number 2. I've always been a fan of F1, and F1 video games especially, but Jeff Cramman's Formula 1 Grand Prix might just be the greatest of them all. Featuring faithfully realised versions of 16 tracks from around the world, this is not only a great simulation, but also a hugely enjoyable racing game too. The type of driving assist that we take for granted these days, like racing lines and auto braking, make the challenge as easy as you want it to be, but the absolute icing on the cake has to be the hot seat multiplayer. Playing a full-length race with a friend, taking it in turns to drive for a few laps, allows you to recreate those famous Mansell vs Senna duels that made the 1991 season so memorable. Like Sensible Soccer, there are also fan-made updates with current drivers and teams available too, if you search for them. So those are my choices for the best 10 Amiga games from Microprose. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to show your support for the channel. VIP members can get to see many of our videos early, including this one, for just $1.99 a month. There are many other perks included as well. Details of how you can become a VIP member are in the video description below. If you've missed any of the previous episodes in this series, there should be a playlist on screen now for you to click on. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy retro gaming everybody, and I'll see you soon.